Hi, I'm Scott Goldsmith. My wife Cherie is behind the camera for us today, and we've gotten an opportunity to sit down with Blake Burgess from Inkspired Tattoo. Blake, it's good to see you, young man.
Nice to see you, man.
Blake has been tattooing how long?
6 years.
And you're 23.
24.
24, he's aged out on it. Blake is one of those individuals that was born with a talent for art, for drawing, and we're going to find out exactly how he made that correlate with tattooing. So if you could tell us a little bit about your background and what got you started, and basically your progression over the last few years to where you're at now.
Well, I was always able to draw since I was young. It started out just little dabbles here and there, and I was always advanced in school, so I had more time.
Right.
And I'd draw my friends and everything, and then toward middle school it started to get where everybody wanted me to draw them, pen, marker, anything. And then during high school it kind of fell off, but then toward the end of high school I started thinking about the future. And I made a full portfolio for SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. I got accepted on my portfolio, but the tuition was outrageous. So I started talking more to one of the professors down there, and he actually bought one of the pieces to get put on his back from his tattoo artist down there. I told him yes, and he got it done on him, and he said all these things, how his tattoo artist said, oh, it's great, it's almost like it was drawn for a tattoo, it fit perfectly. So I started to think about it, and I started to get ideas that maybe if I got an apprenticeship I could do it very easily. Granted, it wasn't exactly like paper,
Right.
but I caught on pretty quick, I think. I started with a man, Matt Huxtable, out of Harrisville. About 6 months to a year with him. Then I went to a guy named Cherie, and about the first year, year and a half, I stayed there. Now, I learned some stuff from him, but it was more just trial and error. Basically, that's the best way to explain it. But yeah, over that time, you know, I saw how he used Flash. He didn't draw, he didn't do anything custom, and that made me kind of sick, because he'd just sit there and trace in the back and lie to people. And I was there to make it custom. Everything I did. I don't use any Flash, I still don't. I mean, 6 years, never done Flash. Unless they're like, I want it to look old.
Right.
But yeah, I went from there and had a low spot, didn't make a lot, so I had to start doing landscaping, but then they called me back. So another 2 years with another guy at a shop, same thing. He just had lost his spark. He was using on Flash. He wasn't really an artist. He could do tattoos, but an artist and tattoos are miles apart.
Absolutely.
And then I decided to go out on my own. I saved as much money as I could, did odd jobs, and then I set a basis to have my own shop. Personalized every time, great work, great effort. And then 3 years now, by myself.
And the business has picked up. We, of course, being locals too, we see a lot of folks that have tattoos, and we got to where we don't even ask who did them, because we know it was him. And in addition to that, of course, at my advanced age, when I decided to have ink myself, my first tattoo was done before Blake was out of high school. And so I went for several years in between, and then when I elected to have another tattoo, I came to see Blake, which he custom drew the piece and did it exactly, actually better than what I had in mind. And so that everybody knows that we're serious, I'm going to flash it here, and we'll show a little better photograph of it later, but I was tickled with your work and amazed. Blake is a big old boy, as you can see, and comparatively speaking, he was very gentle with the gun. So I sat here and was able to have a conversation with him, got to know him a little better, and that's part of what sparked this interview. It's very easy to advertise, word of mouth, and whatever for somebody that you trust and you use, which obviously I do. And just tickled with the work that you did.
Thank you, sir.
And of course your business has grown over the past three years.
Oh, yes.
Can can you tell us a little bit about what additional things you've done? I know you've made some changes here, hired some help, and done things a little bit on a little bigger scale.
Yeah, about 6 months in, I hired Isis Duncan. She's worked with me ever since, almost 2.5 years with her helping me. We actually met at the old shop I was talking about, just between here and the other tattoo shop. She does great too, and that definitely takes a load off my shoulders because I was overflowing with messages, calls. I couldn't sit down. So she helped me a lot, and you know, things like advertising helps, but really it's word of mouth.
Absolutely.
If you treat somebody good, they'll come back and they'll tell their friends, and it's just on and on, especially with tattooing. Because they don't want that rough and tumble guy who's tough on their arm. They have to get it covered up, they're not sure, having to tell them, oh, it's great, but then they leave and they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I don't want that, and because I'm from here, I've grown up here my whole life, I think it's more personalized too, because I know 90% of the people I tattoo.
Right.
I don't want to do them bad. Future plans probably would be just, if I could find somebody reliable,
Right.
to take over this, and I could venture out, maybe travel a bit, if not just guest star somewhere, maybe have something in like Tennessee. I know that the tourists just flock there, and that would be great for me to be able to travel to and from, have somebody here that I could trust while I'm gone, and maybe rent a booth somewhere else.
Absolutely. Well, you know, that gets your name out even more.
Yes.
And, when I was a young man, of course, tattoos were worn by bikers and bad people. And now, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, you know, there's not an age anymore.
No.
And not a particular cross-section of folks. Everybody likes to adorn themselves with tattoos. And so, of course, that's been a big help for you and your industry.
Yeah.
But Blake has done a tremendous job with his reputation. You don't hear anything bad. Everybody that we talk to that wants a tattoo, here's where they come. So anything that you'd like to add? You know, I know that you're behind. Tell us how long it's going to take the folks that are watching to get you the income.
Well, really the best thing is because it's personalized, I need to see you. It's easy enough to ask, oh, how much, but when you want me to make changes, it's hard for me to guess. And I would have more information if they came in, talked to me. And that's another thing, I like that face-to-face.
Sure.
I can show you what I'm thinking. A quick doodle in 5 minutes will tell me way more about you and what you're thinking than, oh, I think on my back, you know, or something like that. So I would say just come in, talk to me. If you have pictures, bring them, and then we'll pick you a time. It works for me and you.
Well, it did. It worked well for me, and that's exactly the process. I had a rough idea, brought it in, knew where I wanted the piece, and of course I think 24, 48 hours later when I came back, he had drawn exactly what I wanted. I didn't know that until he drew it. But obviously I've been tickled with the work, and actually am thinking about just one more. We'll talk about that later. Blake, I appreciate your time, and glad that the folks had an opportunity to see you and actually listen to you talk. You're a likable guy, very easygoing. It'll make it a lot easier for people to come in and say, hey, when can you do me?
I try my best.
Absolutely. Son, we appreciate it.
No problem.
We'll be back soon. Have a good evening. Thank you.